Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper channel. And guys, welcome to another edition of the Hard Truth Show. Today, we're going to be dissecting the United Nations Agenda 2030. And stay tuned for the insanity. For those that have not been to this channel before and have not joined me on the stream, I do this on Sabbaths sometime during the day, if not the night before. And you can find out when that is by following the World's Last Chance Scriptural Biblical Calendar app. You can download it free on the Apple or Android platform. And like I said, guys, we do it on here on Sabbath, usually sometime before noon, and then or the night before late. And then on new moon days, I do it roughly around noon. All right. And if you haven't followed me over on Odyssey, make sure to do so, because any of my stuff that I get in trouble for that YouTube pulls gives me a community guideline strike or tells me how horrible a human being I am for telling the truth to people. You can find them all-time highs over there on Odyssey because they do not boot my content. And shout out to Odyssey and Library Platform for staying alive after the SEC lawsuit thing. So glad they're still around. All right. And lastly, guys, real quick, before we get into some notes before the stream today, if you haven't seen some of the recent streams, talked about the Great River Euphrates drying up, a prophetic sign of the last days. Thought it was a phenomenal stream. Gave a lot of my thought process of how some things could chain reaction event play out on that. I talked about in the following stream after that, you may not fit in modern society if you believe the following. The last Sabbath, I talked to Brother Akeen, and sadly, Brother Joel couldn't be with us that day. Something happened, but we're supposed to all get back in the house together here soon and chop it up again. But talked about DNA modified humans and animals, Days of Noah 2.0, which I thought was a great stream. And today I'm going to be going solo, dissecting Agenda 2030 and what it's really intended to do. And this will be stream number 69. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me check out a few comments over here. Hey, shalom. Much love to everybody starting to pile in the building. And guys, if you have not, please make sure to like the video. Likes cost nothing. And subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you'd like to financially support this channel, the Cash App link or the PayPal link is below. I don't care if it's $1, it is appreciated. And please don't really donate through YouTube, because I just don't want to be giving money to a platform that hates me anymore. So please just don't do that. If you want to donate, there's plenty of other options, even crypto down below. And by the way, the next thing that I'll be putting some coin toward is the rental of the park over here at the state park again, the huge pavilion area for sometime around Feast of Weeks. Going to try to do a get together for everybody again. So I will be doing that, y'all willing. So just bear with me on that if you're in the East Tennessee area and would like to fellowship. Last one was a great fellowship. We had people there young and old. We had people from Kentucky, and man, there was people drove hours and hours to be there together. It was really great. Much love to everybody on that. All right, let me get the stream set up here and get everything in order for today that we're going to cover. So I guess right before I get this party started, and I know guys, please be patient with me, because I go in on this stuff all the time. Weekly, I hammer some of the same tenets, and I will continue to do so until I can't breathe anymore. So please, for those that's heard me a million times, just swallow one more red pill with me, okay? And we'll overdose on a little bit of red pill truth here for a second, all right? But other people need to hear it too, all right? Because we are currently moving into a paradigm where that we are told to obey. I mean, Orwell's 1984 needs to be mandatory reading in all school classrooms at this point, right behind the scripture. But the problem that we have too is that the church, so-called church, is corrupted. I'll leave that up there for everybody to read for a second so you can see what I'm saying with that too, is that everybody that should be kind of a lighthouse or a directive in front of our eyes, they are completely corrupted, or they don't care, or they're part of the problem and not the solution. And so when we hear anything told to us anymore, my default programming is to resort to exactly opposite of what they're saying. I'll give you an example. I don't know what the redheaded chick's name is that is Sleepy Joe Biden's talking piece for the interviews, if somebody wants to put that in the comment section. But anyway, I was watching this thing the other, and she was speaking the other day, I guess, apparently, and saying like that, long and short of it, they were trying to help people understand that the time was coming for people to give up their rights, and that, you know, to take away their fundamental rights or something like that. I think's how she worded it. It was sick and twisted up, and she said it very quickly. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not about that noise, because number one, even though I'm a libertarian and I hardcore support the Constitution, above all things, I support the Torah first. So, bro, some of your agendas and tenets ain't going to be flying Luke's way, and I ain't about that noise. So I'm going to just head out. And so that really triggered me. And I seen this thing. Last thing I'm going to say before I get in the stream today. Seen the thing the other day for the state of Tennessee. The Senate seat, I believe, is open for the area I live for U.S. Senator. And I had this crazy, crazy idea go through my head the other day that I should run for U.S. Senate. Now, just bear with me on my, and then we're going to go right into what's actually on the show today. I got started way early, so I just was going to carve out a few minutes here. I thought about running for U.S. Senate, because if I could get in there, think about the conversations that I could cause to have to happen. Because I've literally, for over a decade, stood for what's right. Imagine putting a fireball like that into a place of political office. You would see dumpster fire daily, because I would be in there stirring that pot, waking people up from a national level standpoint. If I could get elected in there, Flip, I might even run for president. But I'm just saying, I seen that the other day, and I was like, you know what? It wouldn't take that much, I think, to run for U.S. Senator. I've been a successful businessman, a law-abiding citizen. I've worked emergency service work. I've volunteered for FEMA. I've had my hand and feet in a little bit of everything for the good of people around me. I really think that I have a fighting chance at winning, and I'm an independent because I'm a libertarian. So, I mean, it's not like that. Either party people couldn't vote for me, because I can't ascribe to the Democratic Party, because that they murder babies and they worship MOLOCH, whether they do it or not intentionally by the wicked acts they do. It's default to that. And the Republican Party really only cares about the rich and industrial stuff anymore. So, I mean, I don't know. I think I might have a fighting chance at it. But anyway, just saw that, and I was like, you know what? That might be something to consider in the year ahead. So with that said, guys, what are we going to talk about today? This is the Sustainable Development Goals. These are the 17 goals of the New World Order United Nations agenda, right? Now, we're going to go down through this and stroke these off the list one at a time today. But I want you to understand that when you read this on the surface, and I've got screen share to share of the websites and stuff like that, but when you see this mess on the surface, let me get myself out of the way here for a second if I can. Let me see if this will let me do that. No, it will not. Okay, that's fine. Oh, because it's an overlay. Gotcha. I was going to try to get myself out of the way so I'm not in the background of this picture. But what you're seeing here is, and when presented, it sounds phenomenal. But in reality, this thing is nothing but evil. Okay. For those that have eyes to see and ears to hear. All right. And so what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share. And where is it at? I think it's going to be this one right here. Yes. So if you can see the screen right now, let me pop back over and make sure that you can see the screen. I'll get this bigger. So what you see is the United Nations Institute for Training and Research. Now, if you go to unitar.org, okay, you can arrive at this if you do some digging on the website. And it's open for the public to sign up. This is a public course that you can sign up for that takes you through the 2030 agenda, a new agenda for a sustainable world. This is all out in the open. So it's not like Luke is adding to or taking away from today. I'm going to point out my thought process on this, but you can go and do your own research on this. And and come to your own conclusions. All right. Now let me stop sharing this tab and go to the one that we will be reading off of back and forth today. Let me put it up right here. All right. So this is the sdgs.un.org/2030 agenda. If you want to go and check this out. Now, this is transforming our world, the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. And it's got all this nonsense, garbage, like everything down through here, human rights, equality, gender equality. All this. You know what's interesting to me? And please help me make this make sense. I see all these things about empowering women and girls and gender equality and all this stuff, but yet whenever you support transgenderism and like men competing in women's sports and stuff like that, and then like lauding that on, that's actually defeating helping women empower themselves. So I just really can't understand all these agendas, how they're supposed to work hand in hand. Just taking a few shots this morning while I'm at it. But I don't understand how that's supposed to work. But you can read all this if you want to. I'm not going to do that on the stream today. What I'm going to do is go down through here and working through these points as we go, right? And I'm going to leave these up on the screen and move myself, if I can, off to the side here. Oh my, that is way too far off the side. All right, let me see if I can move. Sorry, guys. I did not think about the fact of where that's going to drop my picture. So let me see if I can move me over to here. There we go. And we'll save that. All right, now let me move this layout and see if that helps. Aha. All right, guys, I'm getting a little better with StreamYard as it goes. Okay, so as you can see here, the tenets, as we go through and discuss these goals and stuff of the New World Order, I will break them down one by one, and I'm going to scroll this up just a hair so that you can read the top of the header. So when we look at the overlay, the first one of the goals here is no poverty. Now that sounds good and all, but if you look at the Georgia Guidestones before they were destroyed, okay, is that one of the greatest tenets on it was to reduce the world population. Now, one of the easiest ways to reduce population, which I have yet to figure out what is going on with these sickos in the New World Order, is that the easiest way to reduce population is just to starve people to death. You don't need to kill them with famine. You don't need to kill them with war. You can just literally starve people to death. It is not that hard. I'm just saying, like, malnutrition is the easiest way to arrive at your sick agenda if that was the way that you wanted to go at it. And, you know, the problem with trying to end poverty is that everywhere I turn here in Tennessee, which used to be like a garden in every backyard, all I see anymore is subdivisions, shopping malls, and government buildings. I do not see crops and farmland much at all anymore. Like one of my farm is one of the few last remaining farms in the area that's still operational, like functional. Cattle are produced, they're shipped off, crops are grown, etc. Like it's one of the few. And so I don't understand how that one can even be bought into the lie that poverty is going to be ended when, for example, I just talked about the river Euphrates and it's drying up, and yet people that live on that river, that's what they depend upon to grow crops. And yet here we have the situation that what's going on is actually right the reverse. We're not ending poverty. We're actually creating more and more of it. Oh, here's a great comment. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Seems like they are working on that with chicken and cow farms, Brian. Like, you know, the one that really stuck out to me with that, guys, is when that a airplane crashed into one And then it wasn't like, what was it, guys? And correct me if I am mistelling anything on here today. Okay. It was a week or two later, another airplane crashed into another building. And so I'm like, now, really, like, what is the chances of that happening? You know, lightning striking twice in the same place. Oof, that's pretty slim to none. And the fact that that went down, I was like, all right, this is starting to seem pretty sketchy, just saying. All right. But ending poverty, it will never happen. It will never happen. And I love how that was the first tenet they went with. It's almost a mockery of the, I mean, granted, please note that some of the people that work for the UN, some of the people that probably worked on this project, they meant well. But the underlying tone is still there that this is not what is being seen. All right. And Father, y'all forgive me for where I've lied or misjudged or anything I say on this, but I know that this is a load of garbage, because anybody on this stream that's listening right now, if you believe that poverty could truly be ended in this world, in the means and the kingdom of Satan that we are living in right now, please, by all means, correct me, because I'm telling you, I don't foresee it. Matter of fact, what was it? Messiah was rebuking them for getting on to the lady that anointed him with oil, or put the oil on him before he was put on the stake. And he said, don't rebuke her, because the poor you'll always have with you. You know, I mean, like even Messiah stated that. Yeah, thank you, Sister Cindy. That's right. It can. It's inevitable. You know, Leon, people have different opinions on chicken. I have seen a lot of arguments made about chicken. Here's where I arrive at with chicken. I don't need it. I don't have to live off of it. And matter of fact, we know quail and things like that are clean to eat. So the things that you for sure, as far as fowl goes, that you read in scripture, those things, eat them if a person wants to eat something alternative to chicken, because honestly, spruce grouse, quail, a lot of those things are a lot better eatings, in my opinion, than chicken anyway. There you go, Robert. Excellent point as well. Excellent point. All right, guys. So the next thing on this tenet, all right, let me scroll down through here. Sorry, this new mouse, it gets excited, is to end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition, promote sustainable agriculture. As a farmer, I find this offensive and laughable. Okay. Because here's the thing. Where are you going to achieve food security when you're destroying agricultural land? Furthermore, on the exact flip side of that, as good land's being destroyed, people like Bill Gates are scooping it up, trying to do genetically modified animals on it, even going out there and saying, I guess apparently now, that they're wanting to create mosquitoes with the new virus stuff in it from the CV19 going on. And that way the people that didn't want to take the pokey jabby would get it one way or another. And absolutely, Robert, they're doing that as well. That's out there in the news right now. Me and Brother Akeem discussed that last week on the stream. So you've got this going on where that you're not going to have food security, because you're absolutely corrupting, destroying, and damaging the creatures that you plan to process. So you're getting into a situation like Jehoshua did whenever he went into the land of Canaan. And, you know, Joshua had to kill all the corrupt animals and all that stuff, along with the giants and etc. So, I mean, food production systems and all these things, the food. Okay, let's go forward motion backwards, right? Food production plants are being destroyed or somehow corrupted. The animals are being corrupted that go to the food production plants, and the places that would produce the animals and help to manufacture a situation where that you can have sustainable agriculture is being destroyed. And so please help me make that make sense. Okay. I'm just saying, guys, everything they're saying on this, if you actually pay attention, they're doing right the opposite. So no poverty, right? Absolutely not going away. Zero hunger. That's going to get worse. Listen, there's a great video circulating right now, and it is of pictures that North Korea doesn't want you to see. Just Google that. Pictures that North Korea doesn't want you to see. And there is people going out into look like to me public places, and plucking grass in bags and going home and eating grass because that's how hungry they are. Okay. Now, if I don't know about you, but if I was a national leader of a country where that people were having to eat grass, I would consider that I have failed as a leader. Just saying. Just putting that out there, Mr. Kim Jong-un, Rocket Boy. Let me see here. All right. Next thing is that they want to, oh gosh, guys, sorry. Oh, that mouse is a flying today. Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being at all ages. All right. Now, the mortality rate and all this stuff. Love Section 3.8. Achieve universal health coverage, including financial risk protection, access to quality essential healthcare services, access to safe, effective, quality, and affordable essential medicines. And oh, here we go. Stabbies for all. You can get your VACCINAES for all right there. So now, guys, once again, I'm not going to read every single tenet of each of these points. It's up to yins to do your own due diligence on this stuff. But I just want to definitely cover some important premises as we go through this today. Because I'm going to tell you, they're all about this, and especially point 3B. Let me roll that on down to point 3B right there too, so you can get that one, because I definitely want to touch on the stabbies in this as I go through here today. And so point 3, of course, is good health and well-being. Now, once again, if we pull up the New World Order's Georgia Guidestones, if you look at that, the universal fitness and all that stuff. I mean, a lot of this crap that they've got on this, okay, they didn't have to reach too far for an original idea. They just pulled it off the Guidestones. And long and short of it, they don't want to have universal health care. They don't want everybody to have universal health. What they want is they want the weak dead. They want everyone that they need to delete out of the way. And then they need a worker group, and then people at the very top. That's what they're going for. That is what is all that's all about currently. Yeah, and so anyway, there will be like I remember whenever the whole healthcare debacle went down here in America, and it's just been a mess, a complete dumpster fire ever since. Like, I had great health coverage last year, and then it got changed to a new plan this year, and it was a mess, and it don't cover half the crap that it covered last year, and just terrible. And it's just getting worse out here with the way that the healthcare coverage situation is, and there ain't going to be any improvement that I can see personally. It's just only downhill from there. But they have definitely sold a lovely little dream here that everybody can have health care. I'm going to tell you right now, today, when I say today, I always try to premise today, the moment we're in, the most at-risk individuals of this day is the extremely young and the extremely old, the elderly, those that are advanced in years. Because when the ish hits the fan in a magnificent way here in the very near future that is cannot go backwards from, these people are going to be the ones that are probably going to suffer the most. People that's in my age group, middle of the road, they're probably going to be able to filter through this thing, but it ain't going to be pretty either. But those individuals are at the highest risk. Okay. Now, when you go on down through here, you look at the next thing is ensure inclusive and equitable. Now, I love that word use of play on word there, equitable quality education, and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Listen, the only thing you're going to get taught from Common Core forward is how to march to the beat of the drum of the New World Order. Our educational system, as far back as the early 60s, was starting to go liberal. And now liberalism in educational studies has turned into this push to drone workers and follow the New World Order and be confused about your gender and be confused about if you even should be alive and need to self-delete. It blows my mind how many young people are self-deleting. Okay. How many young people are confused about their gender? I mean, I bet you if you done a testosterone test just in men in 2020 to 25 group, it would be horrifying to see the results of it. Matter of fact, there was that doctor that done the whole study about rats and how that was like, I think 23 generations deep or X amount of generations in a closed circle or whatever. And then after so long, they went to non-productivity, homosexuality. Like, it was just crazy, man. It was some crazy stuff. And we're starting to see that right now. And I know I triggered some people recently on that stream when I said, when you believe this or that, you may not fit in society. And one of the things I constantly support and promote is a marriage between one man and one woman. And I support a marriage with a man and multiple women, because those two marriages produce children. They produce a living human being. All other crap, bestiality, homosexuality, pedophilia, all this nonsense, the cold craziness, transgenderism, none of this stuff produces a product. It doesn't produce a human being. It doesn't even fall in line with scripture, as opposed to where the other two options that I just gave you do. And so we're being educated, and the masses are being educated, and our youth are being educated. I'm sorry, the older of us are trying to re-educate and make our mind rethink in a different way now. But the younger generation, they're trying to mold this into them. And I think most of it is with the intention to lower the population and to destroy society, because society needs to collapse so that you can have a different mindset of the masses. All right, guys, I got to pick up steam a little bit because we got a ton of these to cover today. All right. And, all right, now let's see. Next point, as we scroll through here, is achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Now, I touched on this, so I'm not going to go too much farther in on this one as I spoke about earlier. But if we look here on the chart, okay, gender equality, my issue I have with this is that how can you say you want gender equality when you're absolutely pushing transgenderism, the LGBTQ, 1, 2, 3 plus community, whatever it's become now? I don't know how you can speak to that when at the same time you're promoting this to the left over here. Like, literally, there's a gentleman in Africa right now that was talking about that America came to Africa, and I guess Kamala Harris offered, like, I don't know, it was 50 or 60 mil or some crazy something like that to help toward the LGBTQ community and transgenderism, I guess, and all that stuff in Africa, when China and Russia showed up on the doorstep offering tactical training together and all this crazy stuff. And it was just like night and day compared to what the countries offered. And this is this is where we're at currently, because what you end up with is that they're telling everyone, hey, it's okay not to feel comfortable with your gender. Hey, it's okay to not want to be who you are. But then at the same time, they say on this tenet thing to support equality of the actual genders, and that there's male and female based upon what they're saying on this thing. So, like, they're literally pointing out here that there's two genders, but then you hear everything else on the other side of the thing gives new meaning to alphabet soup. Yeah, for real. Absolutely. All right, number 6, ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Not going to happen. Listen, our water's more contaminated now than ever before. I mean, the oceans are contaminated, the whole Fukushima thing. I mean, guys, listen, if you don't have a whale, even catching rainwater at this point, you would need a massive ability to filter water over a long term, because I'm telling you, whale water and natural spring water is about the only option a man has anymore to make sure that he has clean water. Because, I mean, city sanitation systems and stuff like that are getting more and more off the left-hand side of the road. They're getting pretty much unregulated, in my opinion, and it's just only going to get worse. I mean, if you want to drink the water, by all means, don't let me stop you from going to Flint, Michigan, if you know what I mean. I mean, like, look at the Flint, Michigan water situation. Still, I think even still to this day, that has not been fixed. And that was years ago now. And, I mean, there is not going to be availability of water for everywhere. You can absolutely scratch it off. I mean, once again, look at the River Euphrates drying up to the point where people are even worried about water resources there. And that was one of the greatest rivers in the whole world. So I'm just telling you, like, the ability to get clean water and get it readily is getting very, very thin down. Okay. So there's that. All right. Now, next up, we have ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. And hey, as the man that ran off-grid contracting and was a contractor for years, totally agree, totally support that. However, here's what really is going to shake down with that is that, as we've seen in Texas, I think it was the winter before last, how that they just cut the small people off outside the city with no power and left the main power on inside the city. There was pictures took of that. Somebody took pictures and shared that, I believe. And there's going to be people that, what is it, 15-minute cities, I think they call it. And what you're going to end up with is that, oh, wow, Cindy, that's an excellent point. I'm going to leave that up for a second for everybody to read while I'm going over the rest of this, is that they're going to have this situation going on where that you offend the government, they'll just cut your power off. All the smart meter stuff, I mean, they can literally leave the grid up, push a button, and cut your power off if they want to. With the new electric vehicles, apparently they're supposed to be able to just have a kill switch on them, that if they want to, they'll just cut your electric off on your vehicle. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. And to have sustainability of electricity is, you can forget about it. That is a pipe dream. Matter of fact, as somebody that's worked off grid and continues to work off grid doing construction, is that you will see more and more of the taxation of the electric grid. Hey guys, if you're my daughter, I think she come over by the studio to visit me. But they are continuing to tax this electrical grid to where that I've seen this where that, like, if you're in the city, they have nice underground ran utilities and nice electrical service and everything. You look right over the hill, though, and there is a pole that's probably not been replaced since 1950, holding the transformer that's feeding the power to go down underneath to feed those same utilities, and is continuing to be more and more load put on the same electrical providing grid that has always been there. Matter of fact, I went fishing with my son at TVA Dam in Cherokee. Yeah, it was Cherokee Lake that we done it. Went down there and fished, and I was looking while we were fishing that the one side of the dam was like starting to crack, and there was literally water fissures coming out from the dam. I'm serious. You can drive down there and look at it yourself, and it's that far gone. And I'm like, okay, wow. I'm like, let me make sure and make this make sense in my mind. So we're adding more utility service and demand on the infrastructure we have. We're shutting coal-fired plants down. We're taxing the max out of our hydroelectric power dams. And then we're going to, on top of that, make everyone go to an electric vehicle, which will sustain even more load up on the electrical grid. This sounds like a brilliant idea. And yeah, of course, I'm going to still buy my cyber truck, as y'all willing, is what I plan to do. But I also have a 10 kW array out back that I can park the truck and plug into. So it's not like I can't be my own fueling station for it. But on the same measure, I don't want to kill switch in it that Uncle Sam's mad at me and just cuts my power off. I'm not about that noise, so there's that. All right. And so then you have number 8 is decent work and economic growth. All right. When you look at right here, point number 8, and employment and decent work for all, let me just tell you this is not going to happen. Now, I'm not trying to be Mr. Negative all the time on here, guys. The reason I'm breaking down the Agenda 2030 thing is I want you to really deconstruct this in your mind and dissect it and ask the question, is it really conceivable? Because here's the thing. AI has been introduced and is continuing to be introduced. And what's interesting is in 2015, I believe, was when this was actually put together. And 2015 was right about the same time that they started preaching that AI would be here in 2025. I think the earliest they spoke on it, then from the articles I could fish from the past, was 2012, 2013, something like that. I did a whole stream on AI. I actually think I've done 2 streams on AI, but I talk about it often now. It's part of our society and a culture. But another thing is that this is going to implode in 2 ways. Number one is AI is to be out there to replace man in the workforce, okay? And also for military applications and all sorts of other stuff they're dabbling in, right? Secondary into this is they took and programmed an AI robot that actually walks, functions, work like a human being, and they had it loading boxes onto a conveyor belt. The thing done this for a while, but the programmers put in its mind a self-deletion, that if it didn't like what it was doing, it had the opportunity, it would kill itself if it chose that was a viable option. And so this worker robot moved these packages, and continued to, and then concluded that all they were ever going to do was be a wage slave, that was no quality of life, and that the best option was to delete themselves, to put itself out of misery. The robot literally killed itself at the expo, like shut itself down and self-deleted at the expo. That you can look that video up too. Really, really crazy stuff. But it just goes to show you that even AI has seen the direction things are going, and it found that its best option was just to remove itself from the equation, than to continue to suffer. And you know what, Tess? That would be phenomenal. That would absolutely be phenomenal if we went right the opposite of Terminator, is that AI looked at this world and was like, whoa, this world is so far gone, we don't even want to participate in this. Okay. And let me see here. Next thing, all right, is we have build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Now, let me tell you this. If you have not seen lately all the train derailments and crap that's went on, the Norfolk Southern debacle that's near me, they literally have got this picture that there's an overpass rail bridge on like a viaduct thing, and it has log chains around it, holding the track onto the concrete piece and the 2 pieces of concrete together so that the bridge won't fall apart. Like, that's how far gone infrastructure is. So this is a pipe dream. This will not happen. This you can forget about altogether. Like that's not going to happen, guys. Now, I ain't even going to waste my time on that point. But that's what they say. But they're not going to do that. They're going to further just degrade the infrastructure of everything. Absolutely. So that, and the reason being for that, let me touch on that real quick. The reason to degrade infrastructure across nations is to compartmentalize people into segmentations, and then further degrade that down until you have people in clumps. Because if you can keep people fractured into clumps, it's easier to control them than if you have a networked place where people can easily, freely come and go. And it's like that movie INTIME, okay? In time. All right. Now it says reduce inequality within and among countries. No, what this is this is a CIA long play. Oh gosh, sorry, clicking the wrong buttons there. That's a CIA long play. All right, is what we wanted, what they're saying. Just go ahead and spin it opposite. What they're wanting to do is pull a Gaddafi, where they just knock him off and fracture a country that was actually in great shape, and then bring it down, crush. Listen, all countries have to fall. All countries have to crumble for the New World Order to really, really rear its ugly head. Okay, we do not need independence. We don't need a constitution. We don't need freedom. We don't need any of this. What we need is everyone fractured and destroyed and broke down in order for this monster to succeed. It is imperative. Okay, that is an absolutely mission critical imperative. All right. All right. Now moving on, make cities and human settlements inclusive, resilient, and sustainable. All right. Now, what that all breaks down to is, like I've said, 15-minute cities. They want everybody in these little cities. They don't want any, or big cities for that matter. I'm sorry. They don't want anybody out in the outskirts, like people like me that live out in the countryside and live free and do my own thing. And please know, none of us are really free. We have this feeling of freedom, but we are all stuck in this biodome of a fallen world, and we are currently at the mercy of the situation that we're in. So even though you may feel we're more free than others, I will say that, being the situation where we're at in America, those that are watching from the United States of America. All right, now moving forward, number 12 is to ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. All right, now here's the thing. What this means is we want to reduce the carbon, and you are the carbon we want to reduce. That's what number 12 is about. All right, they don't want a lot of people around anymore. Here's the thing is, you'll hear a lot of these people talking about we need to reduce population, but yet I've traveled Alaska, Canada, Mexico, Europe. There, I've been across the country and the world, and man, there is land, barren, wilderness as far as the eye can see, undeveloped, not a soul in sight for hundreds of miles. Like, there is just plenty of places for people to live. But the thing is that, long and short of it, they don't want a lot of people here, and they want this in a controlled environment, and they need to make sure that the people that are left serve them a purpose. And in order to do that, they've got to stop having the people that use the resources. They've got to start removing them from the equation. All right. Now, number 13 is take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. Heaven help us. All right. Let me put my picture back up here for a second. All right. Here's number 13. All right. And what we're dealing with here is this climate change thing. Now, listen, this is going to be one of the things that, wow, that might be the comment of the day right there, Tracy Jones. Satan knows how important that first death is without the knowledge of Yah. That's right. Yeah, that might be a good show to cover right there. Let me grab a marker and write that down real quick, Tracy. That is an excellent point that was just made right there. And I first death, no knowledge. I tell you what, guys, sorry to stop the show in the middle of this, but that is that's actually a whole show worthy comment right there. Shout out to you, Tracy. That definitely inspired me today right there. What we've got to consider with this climate change thing is this. Now, look, they've talked about rising sea levels. People take pictures of like structures on the beach where the water's never rose 1 inch. Matter of fact, oceans are actually disappearing in some places to the point where that all that's left is the sand beach and the trees. And there was an earthquake that happened in the ocean the other day, and the water just left. Like that. That's how much that you want to talk about climate change. The whole water just went away. It wasn't rising. It was disappearing. And please remember that anything they say, always go opposite with your thought process. Almost always go opposite with your thought process. Because with the climate change thing, the New World Order is going to come in on the heels of that, where you can't have a gas burning vehicle anymore because you're putting too much emissions out. But however, you're putting double emissions out now because the steam plant or the hydroelectric power plant or the wind power plants, etc., are going to have to put out even more power to make up for where you're using an electric vehicle now. It's just crazy. But this whole climate change thing, I believe between climate change and between the whole alien agenda thing, this is going to be how the New World Order finally rears its ugly head. All right. Conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. I'm not going to waste my time on this one because here's the thing. Y'all do whatever you want with the ocean, but at this point, they have absolutely contaminated most things in the ocean. If you look at the sea life they've been doing tests on, a lot of the sea life is either damaged, contaminated, or dead at this point, or unfit to eat in so many capacities, full of plastics, full of Fukushima, and everything in between. So you do you, boo, but Luke ain't going to be wanting to eat much out of the ocean anymore, just saying. All right. Now, Next we have is number 15, protect, restore, promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. Listen, just FYI, putting the stabby jabby into everything is going to damage the animals, and you're going to lose your habitats, and then the habitat loss is going to cause all sorts of other problems, and then you're going to have poverty from that, along with not being able to feed the masses, and it's a snowball effect. So I mean, number 15 to me is insanity, because everything I've seen going on here lately is big industry and big business and big corporations are destroying everything, vaccinating everything, and so it is what it is. And yeah, that's a great point too, Ashasha, is that contaminating the oceans and constantly removing the bottom feeders to eat. Everybody, scripture says not to eat the unclean things. People's eating lobsters and crabs and shrimp and clams and all this stuff. And they're actually the things that's supposed to be eating all this mess and cleaning it up. They are literally like the pig, but in the ocean, right? A shrimp is like the cockroach of the ocean. And the thing that just kills me about that is somebody's took a tank of water that was like just filthy, and then they put, I think it was freshwater clams they put in it, and then it wasn't no time flat that the water was clean. It had already processed that much of that fish tank clean with just those clams. But when you continue to remove the wildlife that is there to clean that up, I don't know how. Like it's counterintuitive. What's being said is all nice and presented on the white paper, but in reality, what's in practice already is already destroyed. Our world's destroyed. We are on the exit ramp as we speak. Like, when people, let me pop off this just a second so I can talk to everybody face to face. People sometimes will let their health go to the point where that they get in a terrible situation. And Brother Joel pointed this out recently. And he's like, then when people go to homeopathic medicine or start naturally treating the problem and start fixing their life, by the time they make the tentative efforts to fix that, it's too far gone sometimes. And the situation that Brother Joel described recently is exactly what we are dealing with right now. Wow. What we're dealing with right now is that situation where that we've let things go for so long, destroyed everything for corporate gain and profits, that now we look back and it's like the Lorax. It's like, well, you've got one seed left for one truffle tree, and so I'm just saying, guys, like that's the situation that's at hand currently. And it's a mess. All right. Now, next up, we have number 16, promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, inclusive institutions at all levels. This is one world government. This is world courts. This is, if you ain't in it to win it with them, you're on the outs. Forget the Constitution. Forget your rights and individual liberties. To hell with all that is what they're saying. You are on your own. Okay. And if you don't play ball with them, you ain't going to be playing ball at all. And, accountable and inclusive institutions at all levels. Let me tell you, every institution at every level in every country now is pretty much corrupt. And I would put the CIA at the top list of any of them at the very highest point. Guys, this is, but this is their agenda. Okay. That's their agenda. And they want a one world language and a one world religion and a one world currency. Like, they are serious about this noise. And please keep this in mind too. What you got to take away is that from like 2000s, early 2000s to 2025, we're in right now, just in a little of 20-ish years, we have came a mad dash toward the New World Order. Now, these guys have had a plan for this, I think, since Rex 84 and all that stuff way back when in the 80s. But this is some serious things that are moving to a conclusion. in the very near future, I mean, in the next 5 years, a lot of these things could be implemented. The true implementation, not what's on the white paper, but the true intentions of the heart. All right. And last, number 17 is strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the, I'm not going to say that word, partnership for sustainable development. All right. And let's put our banner up here of what they have. All right. Partnership for the goals and all that junk. Guys, the tenets that are up here, if in review, they want people in poverty. They need to weaken many more nations and make sure that people are poverty. If people are in poverty, they're not far from dying. They want to make sure that people become hungry in the near future. They're already destroying food production facilities. They're contaminating food production. They want to delete people off. Number 3, if you haven't lived between winter of 2019 to about 2022, then you obviously missed CV19. You've been asleep or in hibernation. Number 3 pretty much hits the highlight of that. They want to re-educate and assimilate everyone into the New World Order. I think it's funny how they have the gender equality thing here, pretty much clear as day that there's just 2 genders. But on the flip side of that, they are promoting all this transgenderism and crazy stuff to mess up the minds, especially the youth, so that the upcoming generations are doomed, and we have very, very low procreation rates. Clean water and sanitation, they want to contaminate as much of the waterways as possible. Matter of fact, I've noticed that a lot of the train derailments have been contaminating the waterways too, important waterways that run the concourse of states. Affordable clean energy, they want to remove everyone from the means of the old style of getting electricity, and they want to move everybody to a point where the renewables are the way to go, and then tax you for them renewables. They want to make sure that workplaces are diminished and less people are able to work, because if you can't work, you can't eat, you can't buy and sell. And that's pretty much self-explanatory. The infrastructure, they need to destroy infrastructure in the countries and bring that down to the bare bones, because once infrastructure is destroyed, people's forced to live into much more clumped up areas. The reduced inequalities, they want to make sure that people are literally marching to the beat of their drum, because if not, you're going to be on the outs of that. Sustainable cities and communities, that's what I'm saying, the 15-minute cities, that's what they want to get in place here. A responsible consumption and production, they want to make sure to reduce the carbon, that carbon being you. Climate action, this is important because this is the means by which they'll mitigate certain laws and principles that's on the books of all countries, so that they can bring their agenda to life, because between this and the alien deception, guys, that I'm certain is going to take place, that is where we're headed in that direction. And the life below water, they've made sure to contaminate, what Fukushima didn't already do. Most of the sea life's already been contaminated by so many other measures. And then the life on land, they're just giving them stabby jabby, so it ain't going to be long for most the food you eat is contaminated. And the peace, justice, and strong institutions, they want a one world government, one world religion, one world currency. And in number 17, they want everybody to tout that line and get on board with it. So, guys, I mean, this is being on the books for quite the while. And I mean, they have a free course you can go take so that you have all this ingrained in your go ahead and get your indoctrination in ahead of time. I don't want no part of this. Okay. I already know I'm on the outs. I don't fit in the current agenda that's in place. I most definitely won't fit in the agenda that is to come. I don't know what the future holds in the years ahead, but I will tell you this. What they have intended for the majority. Oh my goodness. Yeah, exactly. That movie was crazy. I remember that. It had, what was it? Kevin? It's Kurt Russell. Yeah, Kurt Russell. This is the situation that's at hand, is that they are putting the clamps on everything you've got to bring everything down so it can be rebuilt back up on the foundation of the New World Order. For using America, for example, we live in a country where the Constitution is the last stopgap. from the New World Order already taken over, because between big oil, big tech, big pharma, and the news, between those four, you can pretty much put your tentacles into everything. But the problem is you're still dealing with the American people, and most people are still staunch patriots to what comes to the Constitution, because it's not so much that I support the Constitution because that I support America. It's because most of the tenets in the Constitution I support because they are a reflection of things that's supported from the Scripture. And like when we lose that foundational pillar here, America is pretty much toast at that point. And we're approaching very quickly to that. But it's not just here that everything is in decay, that it's across the countries of the world. This is simultaneously taking place so that the New World Order agenda can ramp up, because you got to understand that 2025, you've got the situation of AI supposed to be fully autonomous. And at that point, the wicked mass, the ones that are at the very top, they can finally carry out the rest of their agenda they need to, because they don't need that many worker bees anymore. The AI can take care of the rest of the work for them, as long as they have that pretty much at their disposal. So guys, I hope this has been a help to you. I know that it's not a fun topic to discuss, but whether you want to discuss it or not, the fact is they are out there telling the world what they plan to do. And if you listen to people actually talk and what they really feel and think, then you would understand that what's on the white paper does not reflect reality, because they have a clear, concerted effort about what they're doing right now. And the little redheaded chick that works for Mr. Biden Incorporated at the crazy house of the White House right now, if you listen to what she said the other day, it puts it in clear order what I'm trying to break down to you today. Very clear as day. And it is what it is. But, the time to be having these discussions is now, before that them opportunities are taken away from us to be able to discuss these matters. So, guys, that's pretty much all I've got to say on that matter. Next stream, going to try to have Brother Joel and Brother Keen back on. I actually got to bolt out of here, excuse me, and go to Florida for the next 3 or 4 days. And then I'll be back home and in time, y'all willing, for the next stream next week. But guys, as always, until we see you again here at Seven Trumpets Prepper Channel and on the Hard Truth Show, I hope the Most High Yah Baruch you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, show you favor, and give you shalom, my friends. In Yahushua's name. Love y'all. Have a great day.